when it comes to contempt for paying income tax,
So if we just settle it now for $5,000,
there's no greater hater than Peter Schiff.
I mean, income tax is miserable.
This business big shot has become a celebrity
Peter Schiff, chief economist and global strategist at Euro-Pacific.
thanks to his controversial views on taxation and the economy.
The economy is a mess.
yeah. All right.
He loves bragging to the world about how much he knows about making money.
And I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, all I have to do is move to Puerto Rico. I don't have to pay any federal income taxes.
But when he sat down for an interview, the last thing he wanted to talk about was the offshore bank he co-owns in the Caribbean, a bank with hundreds of Australian clients.
Are you making an allegation against my bank?
It's not me who's making the allegation, the authorities have.
No.
You know that well.
Then stop it. If you want to make an allegation against my bank, then you stand by it, and then we'll see if there's any legal repercussions.
Tonight, 60 Minutes, The Age newspaper, the Sydney Morning Herald and the New York Times reveal how Schiff's Bank and around 100 of its Australian customers are at the centre of an enormous worldwide tax evasion investigation. This story will cause alarm in the global banking industry and panic among clients. That's because a secret alliance of tax cops from 5 countries, including Australia, have been examining allegations of money laundering and tax evasion linked to serious organised crime. As you'll see, the money trail shows us the secret tactics used by super wealthy Australians to dodge tax, and leads to the man at the centre of it all, the face of the bank, Peter Schiff.
To say that, oh, I'm facilitating tax evasion, why? I haven't benefited one nickel.
So why do you think these tax authorities are targeting you? Is it because of your celebrity status?
Ask them. Don't ask me.
Peter, respectfully, your bank's at the centre of the biggest tax evasion investigation in the world now. These are fair questions.
I'm not asking any more questions on the bank.
Okay.
That's it. I'm done.
I'll rephrase the question.
There's no more questions. No more questions.
Puerto Rico, with its deep blue beaches, is a tourist mecca.
If you dance with the devil, he always...
But recently, it's also become a magnet for bankers and the super rich.
There were significant tax advantages of my bank being in Puerto Rico.
Peter Schiff located the bank he co-owns, Euro-Pacific, in Puerto Rico, partly because he knew it offered the kind of secrecy his clients wanted. But for the bank to succeed, it needed international partners. In Australia, it teamed up with Westpac and the Perth Mint.
I started with the Perth Mint program, I think back in like 2002. It was backed up by a government of, in Australia. Bank customers could also use the Perth Mint as a secure depository for their bullion.
It's a relationship Schiff's proud of. Just don't ask him why any Australian would need to use his bank in the first place.
The whole point of someone in Australia setting up an account in Puerto Rico is to avoid or minimise their tax, is it not?
No.
What's the reason?
Look, so you're saying to me that the only reason that anybody would use an offshore bank is to evade taxes?
Well, I'm asking, you're the expert. Isn't that a reason why many people use these banks to avoid paying taxes?
You don't have to have an offshore bank to not pay your taxes.
But it helps. Peter Schiff is easy to track down.
I get to keep a lot more of what I earn.
Barely a week passes where he isn't talking about tax, investing, and sometimes his bank.
Here in the United States, the government takes most of what I earn.
But as we found out,
Isn't that a reason why many people use these banks to avoid paying taxes?
he only likes answering positive questions about the bank.
Why don't you ask me some other questions about the economy, about anything that I normally talk about? But if the only thing you want to do is talk about Euro Pacific Bank, then I just really don't have anything else to talk about, and I think we should just end the interview.
What we've been told is Australians are hiding their profits they're making in Australia by setting up offshore structures and then using your bank to hide their profits, sometimes their dirty profits.
Well, look, I seriously doubt that. So if they certainly find that somebody, evaded taxes and put the money in my bank, it's not because we helped them. I mean, how many people in Australia do you think are not compliant with their taxes? I mean, what's the number?
Probably quite a few, but I imagine many of those...
And I would bet if any of them are using my bank, It is a tiny fraction. It's not my bank's mission to administer the tax laws of Australia.
On January 24 this year, Operation Atlantis sprang into action. Investigators from around the world, including America's IRS, began knocking on the doors of investors and customers of a bank they vaguely described as an offshore institution. Our tax office won't name the bank, but we will. It was Euro Pacific, co-owned by US business celebrity Peter Schiff.
What happened on January 24 this year?
I don't know what you're referring to.
Didn't the IRS pay you a visit?
I don't want to discuss all of these questions about the bank or what may or may not have happened. I'm just going to give you a final answer on the bank, and I'm going to say that there is no problem at my bank. There is no proof that the bank is being used to facilitate any illegal activity.
Peter Schiff claims he isn't allowed to talk about the J5 action on the bank in January. But if he didn't already know it, it must have alerted him to the fact that questionable figures, like Simon Anketel, were using his bank.
How could such a notorious crime figure be allowed to get through the front door of your bank?
You're asking me questions that I cannot answer because I do not work at the bank. I'm not a compliance officer. I have nothing to do with the daily operations of the bank.
But the bank trades on your name. The bank uses you.
It's not a topic that I really want to discuss.
I appreciate that. The bank uses you as its key piece of marketing, though. So therefore, you have a responsibility, don't you? If the bank goes south,
well, I've already
it's on
told you. I've already told you that the allegations that you are referring to are false.
I'm putting to you that your bank has accounts for organised crime figures.
I'm telling you that we don't. Are you speculating or do you know?
Shouldn't the question be for you?
No, you answer my question.
No, I'm the journalist here. I'm asking the questions here, sir.
No, but I choose what I answer.
Well, Peter, why is it that tax authorities in Australia, the United Kingdom, Canada, America and the Netherlands all believe your bank is facilitating tax evasion and serious organised crime?
Well, I don't know. Have you asked them? Because we're not.
I'm asking you. You run the bank. It's your bank.
No. You ask them. We're not facilitating tax evasion or organised crime or anything like it.
So have you then handed over the details sought by Australian, US, etc. authorities about your customer base to the tax authorities who targeted you and your bank this year?
I am not involved with the day-to-day operation of the bank. I'm just going to get out of this chair if you're going to keep asking me these kind of questions. And in fact, if you think we're doing something wrong, why don't you try to open up an account at our bank? Go there under an assumed name and give us some BS and see if you can actually open up an account. I dare you.
Well, Peter, we've tried to do that.
Have you tried to open up an account at our bank?
Yes, we have. So we've gone to one of your referrers.
It's called Euro Pacific Bank, correct?
This bank referrer promotes your bank because of the low taxes and secrecy.
Well, first of all, none of the people who refer business to our bank work for us.
Our nation's deputy tax chief won't name the bank while his investigation is ongoing. But he did confirm the possibility that some involved with the bank may face criminal charges. At his home, an hour north of New York City, Peter Schiff is adamant authorities won't find anything to implicate the bank.
Nobody has told us that we've done anything wrong. Nobody.
Well, you do know the IRS visited you this year. Surely that was an indicator.
People can be investigated for all sorts of reasons. Doesn't mean you did anything wrong.
What did they say to you when the IRS came to your business to you this year? What did they tell you?
Look, as I said, they didn't say that we did anything wrong.
What did they say?
I'm not allowed to discuss it per that government.
Peter Schiff is rarely lost for answers.
I'm not asking any more questions on the bank. That's it. I'm done.
I'll rephrase the question.
There's no more questions. No more questions.
But when it comes to the bank,
Peter.
All right.
This is ridiculous. I don't even know what they're trying to do.
he leaves the final word to his wife.